There is a strange paradox in the modern economy. Some of the smartest people you know are not wealthy. They read books, they understand complex ideas, they analyze problems quickly, they often perform well in school and build impressive careers, yet many of them struggle financially for decades. Meanwhile, other people, not necessarily smarter, not necessarily more educated, quietly build significant wealth. This contradiction confuses many people. If intelligence leads to success, why doesn't it consistently lead to wealth? The answer is uncomfortable, because intelligence and wealth reward completely different behaviors. From childhood, intelligent people are trained to optimize for correctness. They learn to solve problems accurately. They learn to avoid mistakes. They learn to follow logical systems. In school, this works perfectly. The smartest student studies the material, understands the rules, and produces the correct answers. The reward structure is clear. Right answers gives high grades, gives academic recognition. But the real economy does not reward correctness in the same way. It rewards ownership, leverage, and risk tolerance. And these three things often feel uncomfortable to highly analytical minds. Smart people are very good at identifying potential problems. When they analyze an opportunity, they see risks immediately: possible failure, market uncertainty, competition, financial exposure. Their intelligence protects them from bad decisions, but it can also protect them from good risks, because every scalable opportunity contains uncertainty. Wealth often grows from imperfect action, not perfect analysis. This creates the first invisible trap. Smart people wait for clarity. Wealth builders move during uncertainty. Waiting feels rational, but waiting often means arriving too late. By the time an opportunity becomes completely obvious, the largest gains have already occurred. This pattern repeats across industries. New technologies, new platforms, new business models. Early adopters accept uncertainty. Late adopters accept stability, but miss asymmetry. Intelligent individuals frequently choose stability, not because they lack ambition, because they see too many variables. And variables create hesitation. Hesitation delays action. Delayed action reduces leverage. Over decades, this creates a quiet divergence. The smartest person in the room may still earn a good salary, but someone slightly less analytical and slightly more comfortable with uncertainty may build scalable assets. The difference compounds slowly. One optimizes performance, the other builds ownership, and ownership eventually outpaces intelligence applied only to labor. But hesitation is not the only reason smart people stay poor. There is a second trap, and it is even more powerful. Smart people often believe knowledge alone creates wealth, but knowledge without ownership rarely compounds. In the next part, we will explore why intelligence often leads people toward security instead of scale, and why that choice quietly limits financial growth. Smart people are trained to minimize mistakes. That training begins early. In school, mistakes cost points. Wrong answers lower grades. Risky guesses are discouraged. The safest strategy becomes clear: understand everything before acting. This approach works extremely well in structured environments. But wealth rarely grows in structured environments. It grows in uncertain ones, and uncertainty is uncomfortable for analytical minds. When an intelligent person evaluates a new opportunity, their brain immediately begins modeling outcomes. They see what could go wrong. The market might collapse. The idea might fail. Competitors might appear. Demand might disappear. Every possibility becomes visible. This is useful in engineering, medicine, or science. But in entrepreneurship and investing, too much analysis can delay action indefinitely. This phenomenon has a name: analysis paralysis. Instead of moving forward with imperfect information, smart individuals keep gathering more data. They read another article, watch another video, study another case. Preparation becomes endless. But wealth rarely rewards perfect preparation. It rewards timely action. Someone else, with less information but more willingness to act, launches the idea first. They learn by doing. They adapt in real time. And while the analytical person is still evaluating scenarios, the builder is already gaining experience. Over time, experience beats theory. Another reason intelligent people often struggle financially is their relationship with risk. Smart people are extremely aware of downside. They know the statistics. They know that businesses fail. They know that investments can collapse. They know that markets fluctuate. This knowledge makes them cautious. Caution protects capital, but extreme caution also blocks opportunity. Because every scalable opportunity contains risk. Ownership involves uncertainty. Investing involves volatility. Creating something new involves possible failure. The intelligent mind sees all of this clearly, and sometimes sees it too clearly. This leads to the second trap: optimization for safety instead of growth. A highly intelligent person may choose the most stable path available: a respected profession, a predictable salary, a structured career ladder. These paths reward competence and consistency, but they rarely provide exponential outcomes. Meanwhile, someone less analytical but more action-oriented may pursue ownership earlier. They build a small business, launch a project, invest aggressively. Some of these attempts fail, but failures provide feedback. Feedback accelerates learning, and eventually, one opportunity works. When that happens, leverage appears. Smart people often wait for a perfect opportunity, but perfect opportunities rarely exist. Most successful ventures begin messy, incomplete, and uncertain. The builders improve them along the way. Another hidden factor limits intelligent individuals. They often trade time for expertise. They spend years mastering complex systems. Doctors, lawyers, engineers, consultants. These professions require high intelligence and deep knowledge, but they are frequently structured around linear income. More expertise leads to higher hourly value, yet the model remains the same: time exchanged for money, even at very high rates. If income stops when work stops, leverage remains limited. This is why some of the most educated professionals remain financially dependent on their schedules. They earn well, but their income is not scalable. And scalability is the engine of wealth. The final psychological barrier may be the most subtle. Smart people often value intellectual validation. They want to understand the system deeply. They want to be respected for their knowledge. But the market does not reward knowledge equally. It rewards impact. Impact happens when ideas reach many people, many customers, many users. In other words, when ideas become systems. Knowledge becomes wealth only when it is applied in scalable form. Until that happens, knowledge remains potential. Potential is impressive, but it does not compound. In the next part, we will explore the structural difference between knowledge and leverage, and why small shifts in direction can create massive long-term wealth gaps. Knowledge is powerful, but knowledge alone rarely creates wealth. This is one of the most misunderstood ideas in modern society. We often assume that the person who knows the most will eventually earn the most, but the economy does not reward knowledge directly. It rewards distribution of knowledge at scale. There is a huge difference. Imagine two individuals who both understand the same concept. One teaches it to 10 people. The other builds a platform that reaches 10 million. The knowledge is identical. The impact is not. An impact determines income in scalable environments. This is why many extremely intelligent people remain financially limited. They accumulate knowledge, but they do not build systems that distribute it. They become experts instead of owners. Experts are valuable, but experts are often paid per hour. Owners are paid per system. This distinction is subtle, yet it changes everything. A brilliant consultant may charge $500 per hour. That is impressive, but their income still depends on time. If they stop working, the revenue stops. Now imagine someone who creates a system that delivers value repeatedly: a software product, a digital platform, a business with trained operators, a media channel with millions of viewers. The effort required to create the system may be enormous at the beginning, but once the system works, it scales beyond the creator's time. One person's knowledge becomes thousands of outcomes. This is leverage. Leverage turns effort into multiplication. Without leverage, knowledge remains linear. You can only sell it 1 hour at a time. Another reason systems outperform knowledge is compounding. Compounding occurs when output builds on previous output. Investments compound, platforms compound, audiences compound, brands compound. Linear labor does not compound in the same way. Every day resets. You begin again. Smart people often focus on perfecting their expertise, but expertise alone does not create compounding. Systems create compounding. This is why some individuals with moderate knowledge become extremely wealthy. They build structures that scale. They create products, platforms, or assets that continue producing value without constant input. Meanwhile, highly intelligent professionals may continue refining their expertise for decades. They'd become more knowledgeable, more skilled, more respected, yet financially, their progress remains linear. The system they operate inside has a ceiling. Another difference between knowledge and systems is replication. Knowledge in your mind cannot be copied instantly. It requires teaching, explaining, transferring. But systems can replicate themselves. A piece of software can serve millions. A digital product can be downloaded endlessly. A media channel can reach global audiences. Replication multiplies value faster than expertise alone. This is the moment where many intelligent people begin reconsidering their strategy. They realize that mastering a field is only the first step. The real opportunity appears when that mastery is converted into a scalable structure, a system, a platform, an asset. But this realization introduces another challenge. Building systems often requires stepping outside the comfort zone of expertise. You must become a beginner again. A brilliant analyst may struggle as an entrepreneur. A skilled professional may struggle as a creator. And that discomfort stops many intelligent individuals before they even begin. Because intelligence often comes with a strong identity around competence. Being excellent at something feels good. Starting something new feels uncertain. But uncertainty is where leverage lives. The final part of this video reveals the deeper reason why some intelligent people eventually escape this trap, while others remain stuck in linear success for their entire lives. At some point, many intelligent people realize something uncomfortable. Knowledge alone will never be enough. They have read the books, understood the theories, analyzed the systems. Yet financially, their life still depends on the same structure. Time for money. This is the moment when a deeper question appears. Not, how can I learn more? But, how can I convert what I know into something that works without me? This question changes the entire direction of effort. Instead of accumulating knowledge endlessly, the focus shifts toward creating leverage. Leverage means building something that continues producing value even when your direct effort stops. A system, an asset, a platform, ownership. And this is where the paths of intelligent people begin to separate. Some continue optimizing knowledge. They become better employees, better specialists, better advisors. Their income improves gradually. Their expertise grows, but their financial structure remains the same. Other intelligent people make a different decision. They accept temporary inefficiency. They allow themselves to be beginners again. They experiment. They build small systems that may fail. They invest in assets that may fluctuate. They create platforms that may grow slowly. At first, this looks irrational. Why leave a structure where you are already successful? Why risk uncertainty when your current path is stable? But leverage rarely appears inside comfort. It appears when effort shifts from performance to ownership. Ownership changes the rules. When you own assets, your income no longer depends entirely on your time. When you own systems, your output continues without constant effort. When you own platforms, your ideas can reach thousands instead of dozens. This is where compounding finally begins, and compounding changes everything. Small advantages start multiplying. Effort from years ago continues producing results. Knowledge begins scaling beyond your personal capacity. Meanwhile, the purely linear path continues resetting every day. More work, more hours, more effort, but no multiplication. Over time, the difference becomes dramatic. Two intelligent people may start in the same position. One optimizes expertise. The other builds leverage. For years, the difference appears small, but eventually, leverage creates escape velocity, and the person who built systems begins moving faster with less effort. From the outside, it may look like luck, or timing, or unfair advantage, but the real difference was structural. One person invested entirely in knowledge, the other converted knowledge into assets, and assets compound. This is the shift most people never make. Because it requires patience, it requires tolerating uncertainty, and it requires letting go of the identity built around always being the smartest person in the room. But intelligence becomes far more powerful when it is applied to building leverage instead of only analyzing systems. The goal is not to stop learning. The goal is to ensure that learning eventually turns into ownership, because knowledge can make you valuable, but ownership is what makes you free. And once you understand that difference, you stop asking how to become smarter. You start asking how to make what you know work without you. That is the moment intelligence finally begins compounding.